Dear friends, one question. If there was no sin in paradise at the beginning of creation, would human beings be doing work? Will we be still doing some labor or working? Because God placed humanity in the Garden of Eden, the paradise. Everything was there. So if our first parents did not commit sin, were we going to still work? Yes or no? Because there is one passage in the book of Genesis, Genesis chapter 3, verse 19, which says, "By the sweat of your face shall you eat your bread. Tu mangeras ton pain à la sueur de ton front." That is in Genesis chapter 3, verse 19. And that was after the first sin. So now, in order to eat, we have to sweat. So now the question is, if there was no such a sin, maybe we could not be working. We could be just enjoying the fruit of paradise. Dear friends, to that question, the response is very simple. Even if there were no sin, we will still work. Because working is part of God's plan in creating humanity. And this we see clearly in our first reading today. After creating humanity, the first words of God to humanity, we can even say the first commandment. So the first time God addresses himself to human beings is to say what? Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and conquer it. Have dominion over the earth. These are the first words. So, by saying be fruitful, fill the earth, multiply, and have dominion over it, there is already work there. Our mission to work is already there. And that's why you see also in Genesis chapter 2, before sin came in Genesis chapter 3. God gave the Garden of Eden to humanity and telling humanity to take care of it. So the stewardship of creation is part also of the work human beings are called to perform. So that is clear. Make no mistake about it. So God did not create a human person as a lazy person, just sitting and relaxing because I am in paradise. No. Just like God himself is working, has been at work. So one of the ways we show that we are created in the image of God, it is when we are working. So working is part of our dignity as human beings created in the image of God. And this is very important, that the first words is be fruitful, bear fruit. And Jesus will come back to that by saying, what gives glory to my Father is that you bear fruit and lasting fruit. So being fruitful is not just about biological fecundity. No. It is much more than that. All aspects of our human being have to become fruitful in whatever we do. So the first word, be fruitful. And Jesus is right, that what gives glory to the Father is when we bear fruit. Every aspect of our life has to bear fruit. Now, with sin entering the world, the work of human beings becomes more difficult. It becomes also something in need of redemption. And with sin, we begin to see situations whereby Instead of having dominion over other creatures, now human beings are having dominion over other human beings. You see, that is a paradox. Let's read again what the first reading is telling us today. God said, in Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, "Let us make man in our own image, in the likeness of ourselves, and let them be masters of the fish of the sea, the birds of heaven, the cattle, and all the wild beasts, and the reptiles that crawl upon the earth." Have you noticed that God did not say that let human beings be masters of other human beings? It was not said that we have to have dominion over other human beings or master of other human beings. So when we see that human beings are enslaving others through child labor or all sorts of bad things happening in the labor industry, it is not God's plan. God did not create human beings in order to become slave of other human beings through work. And unfortunately, that is what is happening in our world. That many people have become literally slaves. Starting from the children who, instead of going to school, they are working even in countries that are making a lot of money. Many of the goods we are enjoying are actually the work of enslaved children. That is why we need to fight against the enslavement of children. It is happening. The whole world knows about it. But what are we doing? So this is very, very telling. We also have workers. They are working. They wake up early in the morning. They go to bed very late at night. And they find it very difficult to make sure that the ends meet. Some people, they are obliged to work twice. You have a first job, maybe early in the morning until evening, and instead of you being with your family and relaxing and having some rest, taking care of your loved ones, you have to go again and work at night. Because if you don't do that, you are not going to feed your family. This is not part of God's plan. That we have literally become slaves of our own work, of our own hands. Human beings are doing that. You know, this COVID-19 is really revealing humanity to itself. Before, people used to say, well, I cannot give my workers even Sunday to go for mass. Even public holidays, people are working. People who are in the construction industry, they are working on Christmas Day. They are working on the 1st of January. People who are in the tourism industry, especially in the hotels, working every day without rest in many parts of the globe. That you see some people, they cannot have Sunday every weekend to go and worship. Because they say, well, the way the business is being run, we need you. And we cannot give you rest. But now look at yourselves. With COVID-19, where are people? People are having rest. So it means that when we're saying that people cannot have rest, proper rest in their work, because of this and this and that, and we cannot do it, it was a lie. It was greed that was driving human beings to enslave other people, that mothers can no longer be with their own children and fathers cannot be with their own children because of work. Now you see, what are we? The people who used to say, I cannot give one weekend holiday to my workers, what are they? Are they not having rest? People, so COVID-19, in a sense, it is really unmasking the lies that we have in humanity. Human beings are liars. They can become professional liars. To enslave other human beings, they can find very convincing argument to others. But now we begin to see that it was based on lies. God did not create human beings in order to enslave other human beings even through works. On the contrary, work is supposed to be a way for us to participate and to show our dignity as human beings created in the image of God. And as we work, is supposed to bring us fulfillment, joy, and peace. Now, dear friends, let's come to the gospel. Is it not very telling to all of us as Christians and human beings that the Son of God was in the flesh for more than 33 years? Some say 33, others say 36 years. But for more than 33 years, we had the Son of God in the flesh on earth. And majority, most of those years, the Son of God chose to be a worker. Jesus, his public ministry lasted for at most 3 years. 3 years only, out of his own lifetime on earth. But he spent more time working as a carpenter. You know, in the gospel according to Matthew, he is referred to as the son of the carpenter. But when you read the gospel according to Mark, in Mark chapter 6 verse 3, it is said, is it not the carpenter? So in Matthew, son of the carpenter. In Mark, he is the carpenter himself. What does it mean? It means that the Father has taught the Son his own job. It means that Jesus has learned that job from Joseph, his adoptive father, name it, but in the way they were living, he was considered his father. So, Father teaching the Son, Son learning from the Father. So, this is very telling, because it is everything Jesus does, it is everything Jesus did, which is the word of God for us. So, in seeing Jesus working in Nazareth, God is speaking to us about the value of work, about the importance of work, about the dignity of work. So, the Redeemer wanted to redeem human work. That is why he exercised that work. The Redeemer, to redeem work. Because if he did not redeem work, work would be like just a way to enslavement. But the fact that he himself, he had to exercise a job, an occupation, it is showing us that the work of redemption of human labor started also and is found in Christ. So dear friends, today is an occasion for us to give thanks to God for the work we are doing, working at or for the African Union. We give thanks to God. We give thanks to God for having blessed us with that work. Whether it is what we are doing in offices or what others are doing at the headquarters, whatever we are doing, we give thanks to God for that work. But we also pray for God to enlighten our leaders so that they will consider as their duty, as a sacred duty, to make sure that their people, they find decent jobs and people are well paid. Because you know what? One of the reasons why we have so many wars in Africa and in the world is because many people are jobless. If I cannot work, I don't have work, I'm just sitting down. And then you see some terrorists or some politicians coming to say, okay, my friend, go and fight for us. Every day I'm going to give you this amount of money. And when the person calculates, he says, wow, holding a gun, going to kill people, will bring me more money than even working or even sitting down at home. Temptation is strong, and then you see people going. So why should I go and fight in the bush with the risk of killing myself, not having a family, if I have a decent work and I'm earning my life very well? So job promotion is also a way of building peace. So we are going to pray for our leaders so that they will realize that if they don't give their own people decent jobs and well-paid jobs, at least that will respect their dignity and fair wages, there will never be peace in our countries. There will always be social unrest. So we pray for that. And lastly, dear friends, let us also pray that the parents will really wake up their children so that they will push the children to be better persons, to do the best out of themselves. You know, our parents were even more clever than many of our parents nowadays, even though they did not go far to school. Imagine, these old women, these were selling only bananas and oranges and sacrificing their lives to make sure that the children go to school. And encouraging them, waking up the children early in the morning to go to school, accompanying them, is because they knew the value of education. And it's because they wanted to extract the best out of their children. And now we can give testimony that if I did not have these parents, maybe I would not be the person I'm today. Our children are intelligent. They are intelligent, they are talented, they are gifted. But they have become like people on sleep mode. You know, like a telephone. Telephone, you ask, what do you want? Sleep mode? Okay, they have gone sleep mode. Or computers, sleep mode. Or airplane mode. So they have become disconnected. They have become dormant. So they need parents who wake them up. Because really, if we wake up our children, you will see we are going to have scientists. We are going to have engineers. We are going to have people who will be finding solutions to the viruses as they appear. But if we don't wake our children up, okay, we'll have people who will be busy discussing about Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, discussing about musicians, discussing about these stars of the showbiz who are making money. Sometimes you see, go to some African countries, people can even fight. Oh no, why are you saying that Messi is greater than Ronaldo? It is Ronaldo, and then what is Messi? People are fighting for people who are making money, and they themselves don't have something to eat. Why? They could have used their talents to help themselves and to help society. So parents, let us continue to wake up our children. They are intelligent, they have resources, but if they don't use those resources, we're in trouble. So through the intercession of Saint Joseph, may we rediscover the beauty of human labor and promote decent works and fair wages for all workers. Amen.